Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are taking a look at the 8 most iconic tanks in World of Tanks history. Basically, if you've been playing the game since the beginning, these are the tanks that are the most iconic. If you've seen the Mighty Jingles, if you've seen Awesome Epic Guys, these are the tanks. When you think of World of Tanks, you think of these 8. And the first one we have on the list is the TOG 2. And what made this tank so famous, besides the Mighty Jingles, and besides Awesome Epic Guys, and besides Squeaky Baby and all the other YouTubers out there, is the fact that it's so long, and it's so slow, and it has so much health, and it has no armor. It's one of the biggest memes in the game, and the TOG 2 was invented back when Churchill thought that World War II was going to be a trench war, just like World War I was. The TOG 2 was supposed to be able to cross trenches, which I'm sure it can, but as we know, World War II was not much like that at all, and it was all about fast tanks. If you were on the ground, that's what you wanted, was a fast tank. So the TOG 2 did not really get to see any service, but it's still hilarious here in World of Tanks. It's a kind of a long rate of fire for a low alpha damage gun, but you've got the health to not really care. You don't have armor, but again, you have the health to not care, and it's just hilarious looking. The TOG 2, one of the most iconic tanks in World of Tanks history. Whether you play on PC, whether you play on console, the TOG 2 is hilarious. And everybody knows and loves the TOG 2. In fact, it's one of the more requested tanks on my stream. They like, play the TOG 2, play the TOG 2. I don't play it much, though. Well, maybe if you sent me some money, I'd play the TOG 2. But that is the first one on this 8 tank list, the TOG 2. To nobody's surprise, we have another tier 6 heavy tank on this list, and this time it is the infamous, the KV2 152mm boomstick on this tank. Everybody plays the KV2, everybody knows the KV2. It's again one of the most common tanks to have requested when you're a streamer is the KV2. It's one of the most hilarious ones to have a 3-man platoon going is the KV2. And if you are using the 107mm gun, which on paper is a better gun, you are doing it wrong. Stalin will not bless you. Supposedly, while you're playing the KV2, if you shout Stalin whenever you fire your gun, you will hit and you will penetrate. You will one-shot whatever you're looking at. I don't know if this is true or not. I did not test it for this replay. But that's the story I've heard. And you just launch your shell, don't aim, and just shout Stalin, and your shell will fly true, and it will hit, and it will penetrate, and you will have big damage games and crazy shots in your KV2. Everybody's played the KV2. Awesome Epic Guys really made this tank famous. They love to play it. They love to have hilarious memes featuring the KV2. And so, of course, I had to feature the KV2. If you don't have a KV2, it is a tech tree tank. It is free. Go grind it. It's only tier 6. It's easy to get, and you're going to have loads of fun. The T95, the Doom Turtle, also made famous by Awesome Epic Guys. More so by them. I know the Mighty Jingles call it the Doom Turtle, and Quickie Baby call it the Doom Turtle, but Awesome Epic Guys had this video series going, and it was T95 versus, and you never knew what it was going to fight. It might be T95 versus the mouse, or T95 versus another T95, or even T95 versus, I think it was China at one point, which was kind of random, or even the moon. And that is the T95. What makes the T95 so hilarious and so iconic? It was the speed. It went 13 kilometers an hour. Now it goes 20. It's been buffed. But it went 13 kilometers an hour, and you took forever to get anywhere. But once you did finally get there, the game was either lost or won already. But then you got to unleash your 155mm gun with really good armor on your tank and just pump shell after shell into people, so long as they were willing to sit in front of you. If they didn't, there's not much you could do because you were so slow, but it's hilarious. It's a hilarious slow, hilariously big, hilariously super armored tank in the game. It is, of course, the T95. And if you haven't played one, you're not missing you're not missing out too much. It's a slow, brutal tank to play at times. But when you do get to sit in front of enemy tanks at point-blank ranges, the tank is amazing, and it's hilarious, and it's fun, and I would recommend it. And I do recommend it. The T95. Iconic in World of Tanks. The tank every World War II enthusiast who ever comes to play World of Tanks wants to play It's the Tiger. Even if you're not a World War II enthusiast, if you play World of Tanks, you kind of become one. And everybody wants to play the Tiger one at some point in their life, whether it's their first tank they want to grind up to, or it's one later down the road they want to get because now they appreciate World War II. Everybody wants the Tiger 2. Probably one of the most iconic tanks in World of Tanks. One of the most iconic tanks in history, hence why it's iconic here in World of Tanks. Everybody wants one. It's one of the most played tanks in the game, both on PC and on console and on Blitz. Every World of Tanks platform, everyone plays the Tiger 1. It's an icon in history, an icon in this game, and it's pretty good in the game if you haven't played one already. It's got really good DPM, 280 alpha damage on this 88mm gun. You have the historical 88, and you also have this longer, non-historic 88. This 88 did exist, but not on the Tiger. But in this game, for balance reasons, you can upgrade to one. You can get this one. Like, hey, this is the gun that they put on the Tiger 2. You can use it on your Tiger 1. And hence is modules, hence is upgrading tanks. And it's a fun one. I really enjoy it. You can rip tanks apart. Again, really good DPM. You have like 2800 DPM at tier 7, which is really, really good. It used to have more than that, but 6.0 is over. Hallelujah for that. So it's back down. 6 seconds reload rather than the 4.9 seconds, which was ridiculous. But yeah, the Tiger 1. Very iconic for reasons everybody knows. You don't have one? Go get one. I like it. You should like it too. The IS-7, one of the most played tanks in the game. Actually, I think it's the second most, only behind the E4, at least at tier 10. The IS-7, one of the, like, everybody wants it. It's a historical tank. Came out after World War II. Could have been absolutely crazy if used in World War II. Wasn't needed to be used in World War II because World War II ended. And so, what does World of Tanks do? They incorporate it so you get to play it yourself. Hey, you want to see a tank that's never seen combat before? But, man, if it did, we were excited for it. Well, here it is, the IS-7. And that's something I love about World of Tanks, is it brings tanks alive. Brings tanks even that you wouldn't necessarily see in combat alive. And it's really, really cool. The IS-7 is one of those. It's got a 130mm gun. It's got really good frontal armor. It's got some speed chalked onto it as well. The IS-7 is a solid tank, and the line is super historical. The line, you've got the KV-1, and you have the KV-1S. Then you have the IS. Then you have the IS-3. Then you have the T10, which used to be the IS-8. And then finally, you have... Oh, no, it's not that one anymore either. It's the Object 257 is what they've changed it to. What do you know? And then you have the IS-7. But what a roster. What a lineup of tanks. That line is absolutely crazy. It's a crazy fun line. An amazing line. Each one of them is pretty good. And a lot of them are historical, so they're really fun to use. The IS, if you use that, you get the 85mm, then you got the 100mm. You can throw on the 122, which basically turns it into an IS-2, though it's not classified as one here in the game. There is an IS-2 in the premium tech tree and in the Chinese tech tree. But yeah, the line is fantastic. The line is iconic. The IS-7 is iconic. Everybody should play an IS-7. Everyone should get an IS-7, and everybody knows the IS-7 if you watched, again, Mighty Jingles, if you watch Quickie Baby, if you've watched any of the World Tank YouTubers, if you've watched Mad Friday TV here on console, you know of the IS-7. His most popular videos are IS-7. Some of my most popular videos are IS-7. Everybody looks up the IS-7. It's the most searched tank in World of Tanks on YouTube. And I have these numbers because the algorithm gives it to me. They let me know what's the most searched World of Tanks content. It's the IS-7. You guys are looking up the IS-7 on a regular basis. And I don't know if it's you guys or people who are interested in the IS-7 or interested in World of Tanks. They want to see the IS-7, but it's everywhere. Everybody wants to watch one. And War Thunder is the same way. Everybody wants to see the IS-7 and War Thunder. And that's why this tank is so iconic here. And why I had to include it on the list. The IS-7 at tier 10. Since we're talking about tanks that get to be brought to life through this game, of course we have to include the Mouse. And the Mouse is an iconic tank, an iconic staple in World of Tanks as well. It's famous in the game, again, because of its rareness, because this tank did not get to see combat. The factory that it was being built in was bombed by British forces in World War II, so the Mouse never got to see combat. Not that it would have anyway, because it was too big to go across any bridges anyway, but it was mounted with a massive 128mm gun, which is huge for the time. Not so much huge for World of Tanks at tier 10, but in history, it was huge going up against that gun that also had on the feared Jagdtiger in World War II was absolutely crazy. And so that's the mouse, and it never got to see production, never got to see it being finished. They found a hull, they found 2 turrets. Actually, I think it might have been the other way around. And they did put one together for the Bovington Tank Museum, but otherwise this tank was never completed. Probably good for the Allies, but who knows? It was a waste of resources for the Axis, that's for sure. But because of the fact that it never got to see combat, that's what makes it iconic and makes people want to play it here in World of Tanks. The biggest tank ever to be created, an actual functioning tank to be created, or almost created, and you get to play it here. Same in War Thunder. People love it because for the same reasons. You didn't get to see it in history, you didn't get to see it actually perform in real life. And so you get to pull one out here and see what maybe it would have been like. Of course, it would be even better than this in a perfect world because you wouldn't be fighting tier 10s. A lot of these tier 10s are Cold War. A lot of these tier 10s are up to even Vietnam. You'd be fighting Pershings. And you'd be fighting Centurions. And you'd be fighting Churchills. And you'd be fighting Fireflies. Can you imagine the mouse versus those things? Absolutely unstoppable. But you get to use it here in World of Tanks and even in War Thunder, and it's an iconic tank everybody's heard of, everybody loves it, and I think everybody should get their hands on. It's a harder one to master, but it's an easy one to play. The mouse, the FV215B, aka the Death Star. It's not so much a Death Star anymore here on console. The alpha is only 1400. It used to be 1750. If you're on PC, it is still 1750. But this tank was the reason many players even picked up the game, especially when the game first came out. I have been playing World of Tanks console since day one. I didn't get to do beta. I downloaded it for beta, so I did get the T14 for free, but I never actually played the game. I logged into the garage, but didn't play. Oh yeah, there's a one-shot right there. I logged into the garage, but never actually played. But I did get the T14 for free. But I wasn't going to continue playing this game. I wasn't going to pick it up until my friend let me use his Death Star. I guess I said I never played beta. I did play beta. I did play beta, but it was on his account. He let me use his Death Star, and the first game I played, I did 7,000 damage, picked up 6 kills, and had multiple one-shots. And I was like, holy moly, I'm in love. I have never played a game similar to World of Tanks at all. I don't play games like this. I played Minecraft. That was the game I liked to play. And now all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, I really want to play this game because I want the Death Star. I want the FV215B 183, and so did so many other people. It's infamous for one-shotting tanks and causing ammo racks and doing absurd amounts of damage to enemy vehicles. It's so funny. It's called the Death Star because of its ability to one-shot, kind of like the Death Star does to planets. It one-shots tanks, and so this is one of the most iconic tanks. Everybody wants to see the Death Star. Now a lot of people would rather see the FV4005 because it's also got 183, but I had to pull out the FV215B 183 just because, again, of how boom, how iconic it is among the player base, and how I'm sure it has brought a lot of players to playing this game, just like it brought me into playing this game. The FV215B 183 Death Star. Oh man, what a tank, what a vehicle, what a thing. Hello? Kaboom. This one is not a tank, but I wanted to include it as an honorable mention. It is Bert the Avenger, as coined by the mighty Jingles, the FV304 artillery piece with a super fast rate of fire, super high shell arc. The shells go way up in the air. You have no range. You can only shoot about 450 meters. And then they drop down on the enemy, and they don't even do that much damage, but you reload so quickly that it doesn't matter that you're only splashing people for a little bit amount of damage at a time, because you've got another shell firing off again 5 seconds later, 5.5 on my current loadout. Just boom, 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 boom. But again, it's very hard to hit anybody in this thing. All they have to do is move an inch, and you're gonna miss. But when you do nail them, because the shell is dropping straight down on the enemy, you often get engine decks, which cause big penetrations, 300 alpha, 400 alpha, 440 alpha, whatever it might be. And if you're not penning and you're not hitting, you're splashing for little bits of damage, if you're even splashing at all. But it's a hilarious tank, and it used to be small. You used to be able to roll around, get close to people, and get under their guns. Now they've doubled the size, so it's no longer as fun or hilarious as it used to be, but it was made famous by the mighty Jingles. I had to include it. Bert the Avenger, If you have been playing this game for 14 years, 10 years, basically more than a decade, you know of Bert the Avenger. You've heard of it, and you've probably seen some replays, and you've probably heard the famous Mighty Jingles laugh as he watches this tank do things like what we're doing to these tanks down here, just shot after shot after shot after shot. It's absolutely hilarious what it does. And so I had to include this as an honorable mention. So you're getting 9 vehicles, 10 tanks, 9 vehicles. This is a self-propelled gun SPG artillery unit. But here it is, Bert the Avenger. Lastly, we have the sneakiest tank in all of World of Tanks. And you might argue, CloneGuy, the E25, that's the tank we're looking at. The E25 is not the sneakiest. We have sneakier tanks. We have the UE57. You know, we have some light tanks with better camouflage, so on and so forth. You are correct. Those do, on paper, have better camouflage. But this tank was released back when tank destroyers retained 25% of their camouflage while firing. It was a special that only tank destroyers had. That has been removed. Now I believe they only retain about 4% of their camouflage while firing. The E25, however, because it was a premium tank, did not get nerfed. It still retains 25% of its absurd camo while firing. And now, with the new equipment, Flash Hider, you retain another 35% of your camo. So you're retaining 60% of your camo while you're firing in this thing now, which is absolutely crazy. But that's not what makes this tank iconic. What makes it iconic was the previous facts that I listed, it being the sneakiest tank in the game with this high rate of fire. Every YouTuber was playing it. They call it the cockroach, the E25, impossible to kill, the way it scuttles about and just rips tanks apart that will never ever lay eyes on it as it just fires and fires and fires and fires. You have low penetration, low alpha damage, low shell, not shell velocity, but low shell count in your tank, and so you do run out quite often, but it's an absolutely hilarious tank to play, and a 3-man platoon is even scarier to see and come up against, and hilarious to play with. Just what these tanks can do. Oh my goodness, the E25, one of the most iconic tanks in the game. I had to include it. And that is the last one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, slap that like button, comment, subscribe. What tanks do you think are iconic in this game? Maybe you know of some that are even more iconic. Let us know in the comments below, and I will see you guys all later. I hope you enjoyed. Take care, everyone, and peace out.